In the noisy streets of Ajegule, Lagos, the Okafor family lived in a small, rundown apartment. The roof leaked when it rained, and the walls were so thin you could hear the neighbors talking. Life was hard for the Okafors. Mr. Okafor worked as a mechanic, fixing old cars that barely ran. Mrs. Okafor, on the other hand, sold bread at the markets, trying to make enough to feed her 3 children, Ikenna, Uju, and little Kamsi. Every day was a struggle. Ikenna, the eldest son, had to drop out of school to help his father at the workshop. Uju, just 12 years old, took care of her little sister and helped her mother at the market. But no matter how hard they worked, they were always poor, and there was never enough money to go around. One hot afternoon, when everything seemed hopeless, something strange happened. An old letter arrived at the doorstep. It was dusty and worn, and the writing was faded. But it was addressed to Mr. Okafor. When he opened it, he could barely believe his eyes. The letter was from a distant uncle he had never met, a man named Chief Arinze, who was said to be very rich. In the letter, Chief Arinze asked Mr. Okafor to come to his mansion in Victoria Island for an important meeting. The family was excited, but also confused. They had never heard much about this uncle before. Was this a joke? Why would a rich man want anything to do with them? Mr. Okafor was hesitant, but Mrs. Okafor convinced him to go. When Mr. Okafor arrived at the grand mansion, he was amazed. The house was like nothing he had ever seen before. It had a high wall, fancy cars, and servants dressed in fine clothes. Chief Arinze, an old man with a strange face, sat in a large chair. He spoke softly and seriously. "You are my only relative," Chief Arinze said. "I am old and have no children. I want to leave my wealth to you and your family. But be warned, there are dangers that come with riches." Mr. Okafor was shocked. It seems too good to be true. Before he could ask any question, Chief Arinze handed a box. "Take this and keep it safe," he said. "It holds the key to your fortune. But remember, greed can destroy even the strongest family." Back home, the Okafors were eager to see what was inside the box. They opened it to find an old golden necklace and a piece of paper with strange symbols. None of them could read the symbols, but the necklace grew softly in the dim lights. From that day on, things started to change for the Okafors. The next week, a man in a suit visited their small home. He offered to buy their father's mechanic business for a large sum of money. Then, a rich woman in the market took a liking to Mrs. Okafor's bread and offered her a partnership to sell her goods in the supermarket. Opportunities seemed to appear from nowhere. In no time, the Okafor were able to move to a bigger house, and Ikenna and Ujo returned to school. They even hired a driver and sent little Kamsi to a fancy private school. It felt like a dream come true. But soon, the dream began to feel more like a nightmare. Strange things started happening around their new home. Doors would open and close on their own. They would hear whispers in the night, but no one was there. Uju found the golden necklace from the boss, glowing brighter than ever, almost as if it was alive. At first, they thought it was just their imagination, but then Ikenna became ill, and no doctor could explain what was the problem. Mrs. Okafor began having nightmares of someone calling her name from deep inside a dark forest. Worried and confused, Mr. Okafor returned to Chief Arinze's mansion to seek answers. But when he arrived, the mansion was empty. There was no sign of Chief Arinze, and the servants said they had never heard of him. Even more shocking, they claimed that the house had been abandoned for years. Panicked, Mr. Okafor returned home, realizing that the riches they have been given came with a terrible curse. The symbol on the pieces of paper began to make sense now. They were warnings. Greed, Chief Arinze had said, could destroy the strongest family. Mr. Okafor realized that their sudden wealth was tied to something dark, something they didn't understand. The family was torn between keeping the riches and breaking free from the curse. They argued, tension grew, and soon the love that once bound them began to fade. Mrs. Okafor, desperate to save her son, took the glowing necklace to an old wise man in the village. The wise man, after looking at the necklace, shook his head. "This is no ordinary necklace," he said. "It holds the spirit of an ancient ancestor, one who was wronged. To break the curse, you must return the wealth and make peace with your past." The Okafors, though afraid, knew what they had to do. They sold their new house, gave away most of their money, and returned to their simple life in Ajegule. The gold necklace was buried deep in the ground, never to be seen again. As they sat together in their small home, the whisper stopped, and Ikenna slowly regained his strength. The family had lost their riches, but they had found something far more important. From then on, the Okafor lived with a new understanding of life. They have learned that wealth could not replace love, and that family were worth more than all the riches in the world. Though they no longer have the fancy house or the luxury cars, they were happy, and their bond was stronger than ever. In the end, the Okafor family had discovered that true wealth came from the heart, not from gold. Here comes the end of our story. Thank you for watching. Please, if you enjoyed the video, please like, share, subscribe, and turn on the notification bell so as to be notified when I post another video. See you in my next video. Bye.